My bad. I want to introduce Greg Edwards. He's the CEO of Catch Des Moines. He has been since 2000. We're very thankful having him here. We've had Catch Des Moines here a couple times. Always good information to have about what's going on in our city. So, Greg, thank you very much for being here. You have our first.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good news is you get a credit hour or something for your continuing ed. Bad news is you got me. Hopefully not an hour. I'll give you the credit even if I'm done in 30 minutes. How about that? Look at my clicker. Appreciate it. We'll kick things off here with a little stimuli for you.
The essence of learning can be boiled down to something you realize that you've been looking for. When you're here, discovering your inside the city. The farmers, the students involved, the biggest big one in the USA. We are the city of surprise, and a city with no limits. The essence of silent, our city is booming.
All right. That's it. Thank you. What else you want to know? So that was the famous Isiserettes, obviously. That's a video we just cut about, I don't know, maybe 45 days ago. And we use that for luring new groups here, conventions, sports, all the great things that we bring in. We also are trying to get it out locally too, because really you guys are our real customers out there. You guys are the ones that talk to everybody all over the world, all over the country, all over the state, and you talk highly about Des Moines, even our friends from maybe joining us from other areas of the state love their capital city. If they don't, then we'll go after them. So just a little background on us. I think most of you know what we do. We are here really to increase visitors to the metro area. Represent 15 municipalities around the metro, really all the way from Perry down to Indianola, from Altoona to West Des Moines to Clive and all that area. So we work trying to get more leisure travelers here. We work trying to get more conventions here, more sporting events here, business travelers, bus tours, on and on and on. You can well imagine, as you guys had a booming last couple of years. Congratulations. We had a really shitty. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to say that. We had a terrible last couple of years. I'll give you just some little COVID facts of what we've gone through. Just events that we booked or brought into the community. We had 403 events canceled in the last 2 years. Economic impact of nearing about $400 million to the local economies. If you look at the big picture, the really sad part of the whole thing was about 20,000 jobs are employed by the travel visitor industry in the metro area. We went down to probably about 4,000 jobs that were actually still working. An example of that, walked over to the Marriott early on, and Marriott's the largest hotel in the metro area with 420 rooms. Talked to the general manager. I said, what are you running for occupancy tonight? He said, oh, we're probably going to be at about 8%. I said, well, how many employees do you have here today? Normal day, normal time, they would have 200, 225 full-time employees and 8 people working, including, and they were cleaning rooms, they were doing whatever it was to take to keep the business going. We finally have seen a lot of improvement on that. And from really beginning early last spring, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that. I'll show you all the different stuff that's come in since that time. So that's kind of the bad news. The good news is we are on an uptick now. Hotels in the metro area are now running about 60% occupancy. They should be running about 70, but it's still a roller coaster out there. Still not a lot of business travel. The airport people would tell you the same thing. Leisure travel is what's keeping us alive right now. A lot of the big corporations and companies still are not traveling, doing business meetings. They don't have the butts in their seats at the office buildings, which is hurting, retail all over the metro area. So if you're married to some of these corporate people, tell them to get their butts back in. Yeah, I may get a little out of hand sometimes and maybe not say the right things. I'm not running for office like if you vote for But first sending money, which needs more yard signs out there. So here's just kind of a scenario of all the different things we do in touch, Again, you guys are our customers, local citizens are our customers here. And we bring in, we support jobs, we create community pride, we spur on economic development. We get a lot of media attention out there nationwide and even worldwide sometimes. Create new opportunities, quality of life, city prestige, all that great kind of stuff. This is a big list of major attractions in the metro area. I'll send this PowerPoint to Becca so she can share this back out with you. I'll get into our website here in a minute, but all of this stuff is available on our website, which I know a lot of you currently use anyway, and we appreciate that. But some of this stuff, you know the major attractions around town, the Adventure Land, the Zoo, Living History Farms, on and on and on. But this may throw out a couple of new things too when you're talking, especially to your clients who are coming in from outside the area and want to know, what kind of historical attractions do you have, or those little niche markets that are out there as well. So this list should be able to help you out. Some of the big things that are happening around the metro area, attraction-wise. The video featured, of course, the Lawrence Skate Park, the largest skate park in the United States. A little history on that. So about, it's probably 10 or 12 years ago, a local group of people got together and started talking about what do we need for the youth of the metro area. And they saw skateboarding was still alive and well and kind of a growing sport. So why don't we build a skate park? Well, it took a long time to put the whole thing together. It was over $3 million project. It came together really with a lot of private sector dollars. There was some public dollars in it, but primarily private sector. They hired California Skate Parks, which is a big architectural firm obviously out of California that developed all these huge skate parks. They even did the Olympic skate park out in Tokyo this year. And we built, to our amazement, the largest skate park in the U.S. Obviously, we brought in the Dew Tour the end of May, which kind of kicked off our season, kicked off really bringing a lot more visitors to town and all that. Got worldwide press, TV. If you watched any of the skateboarding on the Olympics, you heard Des Moines mentioned many, many times about how these people competed at our skate park. And
Isn't that tour usually in California? that right?
It was, yeah.
And why did they have to cancel? Why did?
Well, California is so screwed up right now. Oh, I didn't say that. California's a great place to visit, but don't go there now. Primarily because California shut down. They weren't allowing the events there. We'd actually, when we started building the skate park, and this is what we do, we started contacting different organizations that do skateboarding events. Monster Energy, Dew Tour, Red Bull, USA Olympic Committee for Skateboarding. In fact, the CEO of that organization came to the groundbreaking. We flew him in the groundbreaking field. So we were on their radar, and they contacted us. The Dew Tour people, obviously this is Mountain Dew, but all of these people, they employ about 120 people. It's a separate management company that actually puts on the Dew Tour. So we were reaching out to them all throughout the fall prior to, I guess, the fall of 20. And in January of 21, they reached back out to us and said, hey, we want to come in and take a look at what you've got there. So we brought them in. I brought about 35 of these people into town. It was like the third, fourth week of January. It was freaking 50 below zero, wind chills, snow all over the skate park. You couldn't see the skate park. These people are primarily from Southern California. So they come in and we're like, hey, welcome to Des Moines. They're like, we love it here. This is so cool. But they did. They loved it. I met with them that night. We had a big dinner for them at Exile Brewing downtown. We had a little private room. And they just, I mean, it just made me feel so good. I mean, all I heard all night was, oh, the people are so neat here, and what a great city. We had no idea what a great city this was. And so convenient. You got the skate park right there in the hotels and blah, blah, blah. So they were jacked up, and a couple weeks later, they signed the contract, and here they came. We are really hopeful that we'll have an announcement here in the next 3 days or so that they're going to come back to maybe next year, maybe next year. But if you bet on all these sports books things, you might want to place your bet. So, great new venue. Another great game changer, really, in our world and really for the whole community is the MidAmerican Sports Complex just opened up in West Des Moines. Great facility. 2 sheets of ice, 50,000 square foot, what they call field house, can hold a regulation soccer field in there, or covered with basketball courts, wrestling mats, cheerleading mats. All these different venues can go in there. And that's kind of the facility that people have asked me for years, what do we need? What do we need more? We need more sports facilities. And obviously being in Iowa in wintertime, we need indoor sports facilities. So this is going to be a huge game changer for us. If you haven't been out there, go out and check that out. It's really a cool venue. The Grimes folks announced a month or 2 months ago about the new sports soccer complex they're building out there. 13 new soccer fields, all turf fields. I think 4 baseball fields. Another huge thing for us to allow us to bring in more regional, national soccer tournaments. Obviously soccer, probably most of your kids are playing soccer or have played soccer. Still the fastest growing sport in the U.S. right now. Central Iowa Water Trails. This will be another huge deal for the whole metro. And all the cities around the metro who have water running through their cities are making connections right now. I'll give you an example of Johnston and Recton River Park up in West Des Moines. You can literally get on kayaks, canoes that can Beaver Creek up by Pioneer Hybrid in Johnston, and kayak or water your way all the way to downtown Des Moines to the Des Moines River. Downtown Des Moines River will be transformed hopefully into either whitewater rafting. There's talk about doing the zip line over the river, even doing a wave pool where you could surf the Des Moines, you know. But what a great catch. It's going to be right next to the skate park. So it's going to be a huge win. And that's got a lot of legs. It's got a lot of powerful civic leaders on that board. Dan Houston is the chair of the board. We know Dan, he's the CEO and principal. But there's a lot of weight behind that. I think the state of Iowa is going to be very supportive of this as well. The new Bucks Arena at Merle Hay Mall, another great venue, new venue, a new uplift for that area of the city and Urbandale and what have you. That's happening. The USL Soccer Stadium, you probably read in the paper yesterday. So a lot of momentum with that now. They've got a lot of funding in place, both private sector and public sector. But I think that's going to be another game changer too, not just for downtown, but with all the talk of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean, this really is a great thing for the community. You look at people all over the world. I mean, soccer, as you all well know, is football in most places in the world. We still love the NFL and the Hawkeyes and Cyclones and the Panthers and all that, and the Bulldogs. But soccer is the big new thing that's going to happen. And what that stadium will do for us will also create some more opportunities. About, a year and a half ago, I went to Indianapolis. We go to Indianapolis several times a year just to call on the NCAA. Also located there is USA Track and Field, USA Gymnastics, USA Swimming. All these different Olympic bodies are headquartered in Indy. But we went out there specifically to talk to the NCAA about, if we built this soccer stadium, would you have any use for it? And they said, yeah, actually we would. We're looking for smaller stadiums like that in mid-sized cities. We love Des Moines because the closeness of your airport, the convenience of your hotels, and the whole package. So we'd be looking at you for lacrosse, perhaps, rugby, perhaps, some of these other kind of niche sports that are out there. So it'll give us further opportunity to bring in some of that other stuff as well. The Des Moines Public Schools Drake Stadium Soccer Complex, same deal. You probably read about that. Bids were too high, but that's definitely going to happen. If you drive by that area, you'll see the land's cleared. It's ready to roll. And then the Johnston Ignite Sports Complex is happening too, which will be another new nice huge sports complex for the entire metro as well. So the skate park, I kind of hit on all that. They did another event there just a couple of weeks ago. If you didn't hear about that, that was a really cool event. This event started in Copenhagen, and it's called a city-wide event. And not only did they utilize the Lawrence skate park, but then they skated all around the city. And you may have seen some pictures or news clips. They were up at the Capitol, skating down the steps of the Capitol, probably scraping up the railings of the Capitol, different things like that. But really kind of a neat event. Drew a lot of pro skaters in here as well as locals. But we've got a couple other things that we're working on. We're working on a Red Bull event to come in here soon. The Dew Tour again, talking to Monster Energy. They do a big event as well. If you haven't been down there, go down and check it out. Yeah.
I had a buddy painting this section of it. Show me pictures of the whole thing.
He was just talking about the wall that's on the kind of the backdrop of the skate park, which is a big mural now, painted by a bunch of local artists. It's incredible. It's really cool. Yeah, it really is. And that skate park is busy, especially in the summer when school wasn't in place. I mean, it was busy from 6 o'clock in the morning till.
I've never driven over the interstate now.
Yes.
Anytime is great. You mentioned, you made a comment, it's the largest skate park in the United States. You made a comment that made me think that wasn't the plan all along. It just, oops, we accidentally hit the largest.
Well, when California skate parks got involved, they started laying out the plans. And yeah, I don't think we even realized that it was going to be the largest until they started building it. And I think they finally told us, we have this little advisory board, local board, hey, this is going to be the largest one in the country. They're like,
Sweet.
hell yeah. The Icon Water Trail. So now we're coming out and they did this big branding campaign that came up there. They're going to call it the Icon Water Trails. Just the confluence of the Des Moines and Raccoon Rivers, and everything in between. So that's what it's going to be referred to. This is just a architectural rendering of, people kayaking down there, and I don't know if there's anybody surfing in there or not, but it's really gonna be a neat thing, as I talked about earlier.
Are you on the board of that, Greg?
I am, Soccer stadium, which I just hit on, it's a Kraus company project. Kraus, I'm sure familiar with. They own that little store called Come and Go, which we that live here in Iowa don't think much about it. But people that come here, everybody does the old, oh my gosh, did you see they got that circle, Come and Go? Yeah, we did. Go buy a t-shirt and take it home. Well, it's another thing to be proud of. Just remember, you always have to explain, well, how did they name like that? Well, it's Kraus, Gentle, K and G, so they came up with votes. Not pornography. So. Well, you can buy porn. No, I'm not kidding. So our website is awesome, especially for you guys. Check it out. If you got any questions, we've now created all this best of this. Back in the old days, we so our budget primarily comes from hotel motel tax, but we also have private sector, what we call partners. Some of you are Shane's a good partner of ours. Still is, right? Maybe. But actually, he's a great partner. Who pay a membership fee, if you will. So I'll take all your checks before I leave. And that helps us. It helps grow our budget, helps us market more and all that good kind of stuff. But we kind of sat down internally a couple of years ago and strategized and said, is this really fair? If somebody calls us, and we get calls, hundreds of calls, obviously, a week on stupid questions, good questions, whatever. But if somebody calls us and says, where's the best cheeseburger in Des Moines? We'd have to, our receptionist, we'd have to look at our membership list and go, McDonald's, or whatever it was. Where really they want to tell them Kelly's Good Zipper or, whatever, Centro or whatever restaurant it is. So we came out with this best of list and said, hey, let's just do really the best of, regardless if they're a partner or not. We're still going to promote our partners well above others that are not. But if the best coffee place is Caribou or whatever, then we're going to tell them Caribou Coffee on Ingersoll or whatever it is.
Do you base this off ratings or opinion based on
all of the
you
above?
Partner with certain people, but are you just Googling like best coffee shop or is it
Yeah, a lot of it's our staff input, a lot of it's opinions that we do, survey work on and stuff like that. So
thank you.
it's not like, well, my mom owns the bridal boutique, so we're gonna push that on her. My mom's not even alive, but anyway, so you've got that list. You've got itineraries, which is another helpful thing for you guys, especially if you got out of townspeople coming in. We've got a bunch of different itineraries that you go to spend a day, and they can, whatever their interest may be, all things to do, summer things to do, girls getaway, history buff, family fun, date day, shopping, all that little stuff. So it really covers all that stuff too. Because as you well know, there's a lot of great places you can go throughout the metro for shopping, for instance. You could go to the new outlet mall in Altoona, to Jordan Creek, to Valley Junction, Ingersoll area, East Village. There's a lot of great shopping opportunities out there. Other resources, our calendar of events is probably another big one for you guys. Go to our website, which is what? You guys know what our website is?
Catch
Right out that way, you guys are sharp. So you go there, you figure out, so you got your mother-in-law coming in for the weekend. Like, I've got one of my all weekend. go to the calendar events. They'll show you that, hey, there's a boutique in Ankeny, or there's an art fair live, or whatever it may be. And just suggest that you go see that thing for a couple of weeks.
Gun show at the airport.
Got to show it to your court. Oh, yeah. We also operate a couple visitor center. We have our visitor center downtown. We're in Capitol Square, we're on the second floor, skywalk level. Feel free at any time to come down there. We've got maps, we've got visitor guides, really anything that you need is extra access there as well. We also operate the information center at the Des Moines International Airport by a team of volunteers. That's ours as well. If you're flying in and out of there, stop and say hi to them and thank them for doing it. We've got a great visitor guide called Catch Des Moines magazine. It's published by Business Publications annually. New one comes out in January every year. Those are very accessible to you as well. I hit on some of these events that helped us kind of bring back the post-COVID era, starting with Dew Tour, and then of course the Principal Charity Classic golf outing. World Pork Expo came in. We hosted the first Ironman event ever in the city in June. Ironman, there may be another announcement. If you want to make another bet in the next couple of weeks, that Ironman may be coming back next year with a full Ironman event. We hosted the half Ironman this last time, but we'll probably see a full one next year. National Junior High School Rodeo Championships, which may not be really appealing to a lot of you, but that brought in a couple thousand people for 10 days. At Iowa State Fairgrounds, huge event for us. We hosted the U.S. Youth Soccer, the President's Cup here, County Soccer Stadium, out in soccer fields out in Des Moines. Brought in a couple thousand people for that over about a 5-day period. Most recently, we hosted the USA Canada Lions Clubs, which brought in 1,500 people right after Labor Day weekend. Post reports, we got 93% of those people were vaccinated, but they still wore their masks. I did a welcome to them at the Iowa Event Center their first night. They all had their masks on, and a great group of people. They originally had scheduled to have had registered 1,800 people to come in, and they had a fall off a couple weeks before, which is kind of what we're seeing with the convention business right now. I was talking to some folks yesterday, I did a welcome to the, probably one of your favorite groups, the Iowa Library Association, bunch of wild people. Actually, I think they kind of are. They're all closet drinkers, you know. Anybody's married to the library? Yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble. I'll get email. Yeah, see, there's one.
I'm on the Urbandale Library Board.
Actually, one of your people, I met one of your people there yesterday.
That's good people.
Anyway, they are great people, but so normally they would have 300 people at their convention. They had about 150. And that seems to be the trend right now, especially with the state conventions that we draw in here. They're about 50% of what they normally have. They still offer the Zoom as an alternative and that great stuff too. But so my advice is shut the cameras off, no more Zoom. You either get your butts in here or you don't learn. You with me? Okay. See, that'll be another email I can get. I don't know why every time I give a public speech, I get like one email that says, "Hey, we really appreciate you doing that," and I get like 10 saying, "Why did you say this about these people?" All right. So, anything else you want to talk about the Lions clubs? We got any Lions Club members in here? All right. So, things coming in for next year. USA Swimming, the Tier Series, TYR. Tier is kind of the Speedo brand of the Olympic swimmers and what have you. those are big events, and there'll be some Olympic swimmers here. If you're into swimming, it's downtown at the new the YMCA. It's not that new anymore. We'll host the NAIA Men's Volleyball Championships again this year. And actually that event is going to be at the MidAmerican Sports out West Des Moines this year. So we're already utilizing that facility. American Meat Science Association. That one you definitely will want to stop in and check that out. Well, if you're into meat, I don't know. World Pork Expo will be back. And, World Pork Expo, I can't say enough about this show because it is huge, and it may not impact you directly, but on a normal given year, they'll bring in 25,000 people for about 3 days. If you came downtown or some of the major restaurants really throughout the metro during World Pork on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, you'd be like, why can't I get a reservation? It's World Pork Expo. Because not only are all these farmers and pork producers coming in, but so are their suppliers, and they're wining and dining these people, spending a lot of money. And I kid you not, when I travel and I'm with my colleagues, we have our annual convention of CBB people where we all get together to lie about how great we are and all that kind of stuff. But I'm talking to the guys from Phoenix and Miami and New Orleans and so I should just say as the guys and ladies. And they're saying, yeah, next year we're hosting the Super Bowl. So one says, yeah, next year we're going to host the baseball All-Star game. And I go, screw you. We're hosting the World Pork Expo. And they just kind of look at you and I go, hey, 25,000 people for about 5 days in town, probably spend as much money as your freaking Super Bowl does. So, but so use that for bragging rights.
There you go. Full of swine.
IndyCar Racing Series coming back to Newton. That's huge too. It's sad to see the Newton Speedway kind of go dormant this last couple of years, but so that's going to be a neat event. Another meat group, the American Association of Meat Processors, coming in. Hopefully they'll wash their hands before they get here. Big group coming in this next summer, State Games of America. So you're familiar with the Iowa Games. This is the national state games. We bid on this deal, I think it was back in 2015. Chuck Long, myself, and an entourage of about 4 or 5 other people traveled to Atlantic City, of all places, to bid on this, and we got it. It was supposed to be here last year. Of course, COVID couldn't do it, but it'll be coming in this summer, utilizing both Ames and Des Moines facilities. But a huge, huge deal, really, for the entire state of Iowa. Hosting some USA Gymnastics stuff, a championship series here. AASHTO, you know what AASHTO stands for? American Association of State Highway Transportation Officials. See what you learned today? And probably the biggest news, the American Quilters are coming back.
Hey Greg, what about NCAA basketball?
NCAA basketball comes back in 2023. And this bottom one, if you can see it, is actually a really cool group. It's the Nursing Organizations Alliance. It's like, what on earth is that? So this will be about 200 people that represent all the different nursing organizations out there, like the maternity room nurses, the operating room nurses, emergency room nurses, all these different categories of nurses. And they all have conventions and meetings and things throughout the year. So we're bringing them in. It was a tough thing to get. We spent a lot of money to bring them in. You got to give them free hotel rooms, feed them, wine and dine them. But these are people making decisions on where their next conventions and meetings and things will be. So we're really excited about that. You probably won't see that in the headlines of the newspaper or anything, but we're excited to be hosting that. This year we're back to somewhat normal. I mentioned all the COVID numbers earlier. So our budget last year was down 54% of where it normally would be. This year we're still down about 42%, but we're able to kind of implement some new, put some travel back in our schedules, go to some different trade shows. Some of the shows that we do, Sports ETA, which is down in Alabama. This is a convention that brings in all the USA Olympic governing bodies, plus USA Softball, USSSA, AAU, all these different organizations, sporting events. So it's a good show for us to be at. Connect Faith is what it is. It's all religious planners. We do a ton of religious conventions here. Everything from, the Jehovah's Witnesses to the National League of Women's Conference that we hosted here a couple of years ago. But another really good piece of business that a lot of times fall on softer times, maybe a 4th of July weekend around Christmas time and things like that we're scrambling for groups. On the religious note, when I think I've been here a couple of years, and we booked the National Atheist Convention, and we booked it on Easter weekend. You don't think the registrar had fun with that, do you? Yeah, that was fun. Anyway, we welcome everyone, and whoever you are, whatever you are, as long as you got a little money, come on in.
Wasn't that the same weekend that Hope utilized Wells for their service? Wasn't that the same weekend?
No, I don't think so. That was before Wells Fargo was here.
Oh,
Yeah. But I'll tell you, on that note, though, now that you say that, so Donald Trump's coming to the state fairgrounds on Saturday, if you haven't heard. Guess what's going on at the same time at the fairgrounds? The Planned Parenthood.
Thanks.
I was out at the fairgrounds a week ago. We took a bunch of local meeting planners out there to show some new facilities that they have out there. And I go, what are you setting up for? And they go, the Planned Parenthood Book Fair. And I go, oh, when's that? And they go, well, it doesn't kick off until next week. The weekend Donald Trump's going to be here. And I go, oh, that'll be nice. So whether you're going to one or the other, enjoy yourself.
no fighting.
No fighting. Anyway, some of the other shows we do. Currently, we have 78 leads out. A lead being, we actually have a proposal in hand with 78 different organizations, again, whether it be sports or conventions or whatever. We've got 450 qualified prospects in our funnel, just like you all do. We work with the funnel sales aspect before you build the funnel. Obviously, the more production and bookings you're going to have. So pretty happy about that. And that's really it. I'm happy to answer questions, take comments. Anybody want to give me some crap about some of the stuff I said today? You're welcome to. Go ahead, bud.
NCAA basketball, NCAA wrestling, NCAA track. Big event.
NCAA basketball, men's basketball will be back in 2023, March. We bid every chance we get. NCAA is now on a bidding cycle where I think it's every 4 years they put out all of their 80-some sports out to bid. We always bid on basketball. We always bid on wrestling. We always bid on track and field, and then we'll bid on some smaller sports too. NCAA track and field and USA track and field for that matter, all go to Eugene, Oregon. Eugene, Oregon has built this huge, beautiful track complex. They happen to have Bill Knight, who's the owner of Nike, who has given them millions of dollars. So that's the story. Wrestling wise, which we hosted championship here back in 2016, great success. But they're now filling arenas for NCAA wrestling of 20,000 plus people. And although they love Des Moines, but they do hate Iowa because of our wrestling programs, they won't take a look at us until either their numbers drop or there's not going to be a time where we're going to add on another 4,000 seats here in Wells Fargo. So let's move on that.
Sir, when we talk about bidding, what are you talking about?
Bidding?
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. We are traveling in a couple of weeks. We're going down to Orlando to bid on the AAU Junior Olympic Games, which first event that we hosted here was 1994, and we hosted every 5 years. So we'll go in there. We've already sent in our proposal. Some of these proposals are 100-some pages long, and they cover everything from, what's your tax rate, how many hotel rooms, to all the specifics of what are your venues that we're going to utilize. So we'll go in and make our actual pitch to them. We'll show them our video, and then we'll do probably a 10-minute presentation. So that's what our bidding is, basically a sales pitch. Yeah.
You're not asking for money from them.
No. No. But I think most of the time they're asking money from us. Yes.
There's a new hockey rinks that have just opened. You guys looking to do anything with those?
Which new?
The ones out in the West Des Moines area. There's
Yeah,
like-
direct class.
Direct, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. We already have some junior hockey events put together.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
What's the feel on Dot Dash? Obviously, it's not your world exactly, but that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, the question of what's feeling on Dot Dash by Meredith, it's a huge deal, and from the news reports right now is they're going to keep their Meredith
What else would they say
employment
until
here.
closes?
What are they going to say? So, fingers are crossed. I mean, that's a huge deal for Des Moines, Iowa. That's another one of our bragging points. Besides saying we host World Pork Expo, we can say we're the home of Better Homes Gardens and Midwest Living and all these great pubs too. So I guess time will tell. Yeah.
Hi, Greg.
Hi.
Carol, how are you?
Good.
I just heard today that the Civic Center is like one of that they're doing this sensory inclusive experience for is that an initiative that our other venues are going to take part in?
Actually, it's the convention center. It's Wells Fargo and the Iowa Event Center that's doing that.
Okay.
Is the Civic Center doing that too?
I thought I heard that the Civic Center was doing it too.
They do civic, they do show.
Sensory. I think it's another, a kind of a DEI thing, an inclusive thing. So, yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a huge trend across the country or what. I'm sure somebody else is doing it because you usually copy other people's ideas, not creative. Not here though in Des Moines.
You may have touched on this, but moving forward with Wells Fargo, events planned in early 2022, concerts, things like that, Civic Center shows, we still hold capacity, all that.
Yeah, everything.
Is that something we can talk about?
So
Tell them about?
yeah, so the Civic Center Broadway shows are coming back this year. Wells Fargo Arena's got a lot of concerts booked this fall and into early next year. And so I guess it depends on the venue. So I think the Civic Center is going to require you to wear masks. I think they may even require you to show vaccination. Wells Fargo Arena, the Iowa Event Center, is more open with, it's up to the client. But Chris Conley, the general manager, called me a month ago because they had a client that said, we want everybody vaccinated before they come to the show. And he said, yeah, how should I handle this? And I said, it's the client request. It's just like if we were hosting the Iowa Association of Realtors convention, and they say, we want everybody to wear a mask, then we're going to ask people to everybody wear a mask. And if you walk in there and don't wear a mask, which all the agriculture shows, they never wear masks, but so, there's going to be shows where you've got to show vaccination. Michael Bublé was one of those shows. A couple other artists coming in, James Taylor and Jackson Brown, I think is another one that says you've got to show a vaccination card.
Well, that's what I thought it was, but the spoon was supposed to come and last month, and they were not requiring a White Sherman for people to be vaccinated or show up in the bug. So they canceled it.
Oh, because White Sherman wasn't going to do that. See, and that's their call. That's me, that's what's called. I think, I don't think you have to mandate anything, but
The artist can.
Very-
Yeah,
you
the
just have
artist
to
wants
honor
it.
it. I mean,
No,
that's,
yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
they can
of
say.
course. I was surprised that they're the clients.
Spoon, one of my favorites. That's it.
I don't remember what year it was, Greg, but one year you did a slide on like population growth, how it was created and demographics. I missed that slide.
I did it. Look, it was really quick.
But that was one of the things that I told many agents at that point is not stagnant, it's growing. I think it was like a 1.6% growth annually. Household being created was a great number of the well, remember guys, it's 3 years old, you guys know.
Well, here's your latest slide. Des Moines is the fastest growing metro in the Midwest. Beating out of Kansas City, Minneapolis, Indianapolis, St. Louis, even Omaha. I can't tell you what we've grown by, but we're now a metro area of over 700,000 people. So,
And the partnership has great graphics on that.
Yeah.
Oh, what's gonna happen in the market?
There's probably-
There's how clients, that is based off the supply and demand. And demand is strong, also we're getting created. I think that 1 to 2% growth on a 700,000, 14,000 households being created. The millennial generation is strong and they're buying houses. So this is all great news. So we should totally applaud what Greg Catch Des Moines is doing, but also feel very continue to come every year a new millennial build with the next generation is see buy houses in the middle of themselves and keep doing that. So we're good, right?
What my job joining you guys. Anything else?
They were hiring me fully for full time. Everyone had to interview.
Top golf. Wouldn't that be great? You know, at one time, so the partnership works on economic development. I don't think this is probably a big secret, but they were working with Top Golf to do a project with the Metro. And Top Golf, I believe, is coming out with a new concept, a smaller concept where Metro is more like our size. And I honestly don't know where that, and COVID hit and everything stopped, but I think we're on their radar anyway. Love to have Top Golf.
Their requirements for the city were pretty steep for the original.
They were. That's why they've
So
gone
many-
this junior Top Golf or whatever, you know, maybe, or like a common joke kind of thing. All right, thank you all very much.